Welcome to a journey through 10 most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist. From unbelievable tiny homes to unique small house designs, these unusual tiny homes prove that creativity knows no limits. Whether you love bizarre tiny house designs, weird tiny houses, or the coolest tiny houses in the world, this list will inspire you with creative tiny house ideas and unique tiny house architecture that you simply won't forget. Hobbit Tiny House, a fairy tale home built into a hillside with round doors and earthy charm. Floating Tiny House, a houseboat that lets you live off-grid with breathtaking water views. UFO Tiny House, a futuristic pod design that looks straight out of a sci-fi movie. Glass Tiny House, transparent walls that bring nature and starlight into your home. Tiny House on Wheels, mobile living with smart storage and compact comfort. Treehouse Tiny House elevated above the ground, blending eco-living with childhood dreams. Airplane Tiny House, a repurposed aircraft transformed into a cozy and stylish home. Underground Tiny House, a hidden bunker-style home with natural insulation and privacy. Container Tiny House, industrial steel containers converted into modern, modular homes. Luxury Tiny House with rooftop deck, high-end finishes, spa-style interiors, and a rooftop for stargazing. Step into one of the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist, the Hobbit Tiny House. Built into the hillside with round wooden doors, curved windows, and earthy stone walls, this unbelievable tiny home looks like it came straight from a fairy tale. Unlike ordinary designs, this unique small house blends perfectly with nature, making it one of the coolest tiny houses in the world. If you've ever dreamed of living in the Shire, this unusual tiny home proves that fantasy can become reality. The Hobbit-inspired tiny house offers more than just fantasy. It's a creative tiny house idea that brings peace and sustainability to everyday living. Thanks to natural insulation from the hillside, this unique tiny house architecture stays cool in summer and warm in winter. The design not only reduces energy costs but also creates a cozy and magical atmosphere. For anyone looking for unbelievable tiny homes that combine eco-friendly living with charm, this Hobbit tiny house is an inspiring solution. Among the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist is the floating tiny house. Resting gracefully on the water, this unbelievable tiny home gives you breathtaking lake views and the freedom to live off-grid. With unique small house designs that combine modern architecture and natural surroundings, this unusual tiny home is one of the coolest tiny houses in the world. For those who dream of adventure, the floating tiny house is where freedom meets creativity. The floating tiny house offers more than just beauty. It's a creative tiny house idea designed for sustainable living. Powered by solar panels and supported by eco-friendly materials, this unique tiny house architecture allows you to enjoy nature while reducing your carbon footprint. Imagine waking up to the sound of water, surrounded by peace and tranquility. For anyone seeking unbelievable tiny homes that mix lifestyle, freedom, and sustainability, the floating tiny house is a dream come true. Get ready to explore one of the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist, the UFO tiny house. Designed with a futuristic pod shape, this unbelievable tiny home looks like it just landed from outer space. Its circular design, panoramic windows, and modern materials make it a bizarre yet stylish creation. Among unusual tiny homes, this is truly one of the coolest tiny houses in the world, perfect for those who want to live with a sci-fi twist. The UFO-shaped tiny house isn't just about looks. It's a creative tiny house idea that delivers functionality in style. With efficient storage, energy-saving systems, and compact design, this unique tiny house architecture makes futuristic living possible today. It proves that tiny houses that actually exist can feel both out of this world and practical. For anyone searching for unbelievable tiny homes that blend imagination with modern living, this UFO tiny house is the ultimate choice. Here's one of the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist, the transparent glass tiny house. Built entirely with reinforced glass walls, this unbelievable tiny home lets you live in complete harmony with nature. Imagine waking up with sunlight pouring in and falling asleep under the stars. Among unusual tiny homes, this unique small house design delivers breathtaking beauty, making it one of the coolest tiny houses in the world. The glass tiny house isn't just visually stunning, it's a creative tiny house idea designed for those who love the outdoors. With its open concept, natural ventilation, and eco-friendly architecture, this unique tiny house creates a healthier and more connected lifestyle. It's proof that tiny houses that actually exist can feel both modern and magical. For anyone searching for unbelievable tiny homes that combine style with serenity, the transparent glass tiny house is the ultimate choice. One of the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist is the tiny house on wheels. Compact, stylish, and completely mobile, this unbelievable tiny home makes it possible to take your dream lifestyle anywhere. With creative tiny house ideas like foldable furniture and hidden storage, this unique small house design is both functional and inspiring. Among unusual tiny homes, the tiny house on wheels proves that freedom and comfort can go hand in hand. The tiny house on wheels is more than just mobility, it's a unique tiny house architecture built for adventure seekers. Whether you want to travel across the country or live off-grid, this creative tiny house idea offers flexibility like no other. It reduces living costs, encourages minimalism, and gives you the freedom to change scenery anytime. For anyone searching for the coolest tiny houses in the world, this tiny house on wheels is an unbelievable home that actually exists. Another one of the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist is the Treehouse tiny house. Elevated above the ground with wooden decks and rope bridges, this unbelievable tiny home turns childhood dreams into reality. With unique small house designs surrounded by fresh leaves and nature, it creates an inspiring hideaway. Among unusual tiny homes, this creative tiny house idea is truly one of the coolest tiny houses in the world. The Treehouse-inspired tiny home is more than just fun. It's a unique tiny house architecture that connects you with nature. By being elevated, it provides safety, natural ventilation, and breathtaking views of the forest. It's also eco-friendly, blending into the environment with sustainable materials. For anyone searching for unbelievable tiny homes that combine peace, adventure, and creativity, this Treehouse tiny house is an inspiring choice that actually exists. One of the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist is the airplane tiny house. Repurposed from an old aircraft, this unbelievable tiny home turns aviation history into modern living. With its sleek fuselage exterior and windows that once soared through the skies, this unusual tiny home is now a cozy retreat. Among bizarre tiny house designs, the airplane tiny house is truly one of the coolest tiny houses in the world. The airplane-turned-tiny house is not just eye-catching, it's a creative tiny house idea that promotes sustainability by giving new life to decommissioned planes. Inside, the unique tiny house architecture features spacious layouts, modern amenities, and even a cockpit lounge. It proves that tiny houses that actually exist can be both eco-friendly and luxurious. For anyone searching for unbelievable tiny homes that combine history with creativity, this airplane tiny house is a perfect choice. Another one of the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist is the underground tiny house. Hidden beneath the earth, this unbelievable tiny home blends seamlessly into its surroundings. With grass-covered rooftops and stone entryways, this unusual tiny home feels like a secret hideout. Among unique small house designs, the underground tiny house stands out as one of the coolest tiny houses in the world, mysterious, cozy, and unforgettable. The underground tiny house is more than just a creative tiny house idea. It's a model of energy efficiency. Thanks to the natural insulation of soil, this unique tiny house architecture stays warm in winter and cool in summer, reducing energy costs dramatically. It also provides privacy and peace, making it one of the most unbelievable tiny homes for minimalist and sustainable living. For those seeking unusual tiny homes that combine comfort with eco-friendly design, the underground tiny house is the answer. One of the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist is the container tiny house. Built from repurposed shipping containers, this unbelievable tiny home transforms industrial steel into stylish living. With sleek designs, large glass panels, and creative layouts, this unusual tiny home proves that modern architecture can thrive in small spaces. Among bizarre tiny house designs, the container tiny house stands out as one of the coolest tiny houses in the world. The shipping container tiny house is not just eye-catching. It's a creative tiny house idea that promotes affordability and sustainability. These unique tiny house architectures are modular, customizable, and eco-friendly, making them perfect for minimalists and adventurers alike. By reusing containers, this unbelievable tiny home reduces waste and offers flexibility in design. For anyone searching for unusual tiny homes that are both practical and stylish, the container tiny house is a perfect solution. Among the most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist is the luxury tiny house with a rooftop deck. Blending modern architecture with cozy charm, this unbelievable tiny home features stylish interiors, spa-style bathrooms, and a private rooftop retreat. With its sleek design and high-end finishes, this unusual tiny home is one of the coolest tiny houses in the world, proving that tiny living can feel luxurious. The luxury tiny house offers more than beauty. It's a creative tiny house idea that delivers comfort and lifestyle in a compact space. Its rooftop deck provides a perfect place to relax, stargaze, or host friends, while the interiors maximize every inch with smart storage and elegant details. This unique tiny house architecture shows that tiny houses that actually exist can be both practical and indulgent. For anyone searching for unbelievable tiny homes, the luxury tiny house sets a new standard. And there you have it, 10 most unique tiny houses you won't believe actually exist. From weird tiny houses to unbelievable tiny homes, these unique small house designs prove that compact living can be stylish, eco-friendly, and inspiring. Which of these unusual tiny homes is your favorite? Drop a comment below, hit like if you enjoyed this tour, and don't forget to subscribe for more creative tiny house ideas and the coolest tiny houses in the world.